I'm actually just shaping this, figuring it out as I go. This isn't like a rough draft where the writer can write and then go back and add and change. I'm just figuring this thing out as I go, looking at it and determining the shape. That's why I'm kind of taking my time with it. I don't have a pattern to go by on this one. I'm just having to come up with it. Well, that's a good start on the bottom. I've got it from the bottom around to the sides, and where it goes from there around to the top, I'm going to have to take it loose from this barrel so I don't skin the barrel. I'd like to do something with the back of this thing. This sticks out way too much to me. I just don't care for that sticking way out. I'm going to try to thin that down and kind of flare it just a little bit. I can sort of see it in my head, but not clearly. In designing a stock for a gun, and you don't have a pattern, you're just designing it as you go, you need to put it on the gun from time to time and see how the lines of the wood match up with the lines of the gun. Every gun has lines. It's got an outline, an outside shape. It's got internal. So you need to design the wood to complement the lines of the gun itself. Pistol grips are about as hard as anything to mess with lines, because every pistol's got its own set of lines, and you can get things that don't complement those lines, and they look like they don't even belong there. This little flat right here on top of this receiver, there's a little metal, a little flat spot on this, and and it comes out about 1/8 of an inch from the barrel out. I'm going to pick up on that flat, and there's going to be a flat on top of this forearm that comes and lines up with that flat right there, and it's going to come out. I'm going to start with that line, and then I'm going to maybe narrow it down, thin it down a little bit. That pencil is about a piece of junk. Probably made in China. So I'm going to start with these two lines that I've made right there and over here, and then I may narrow them down. They're a little bit wider than this metal, the top of that metal, for right now, but I can always make them a little smaller. But I'm going to start with that, and I'm going to bring them out down the top of this. I'm going to leave a little flat all the way out, and it's going to get smaller and smaller, and finally when it gets down here to the end, it's going to be almost a knife edge. Just bringing this line, I'm creating this top line, this flat line. When I get this side made and this side parallel, symmetrical to it, then I can connect the dots from here on around. Copying something is one thing. You can take calipers and dimensions and measurements off of a pattern, bring it over here and put it on this stock and follow those lines. Copying is good. It's good to be able to copy and make things according to that wheel that was already invented. But that's not the only option there is with stock making. Sometimes you have to create. You have to think up your own stuff. And when it comes to that, it's a different set of ducks that you got to get in a row. This looks like a little Mickey Mouse thing, little toy, a little kid's toy. If you put a nice good edge on that iron, it is more than a toy, I promise you. You can hold on to it. You can get a good grip on it. So don't discount these little. This is a paneling plane for when people used to have paneling in their houses. You carry that in your pocket, and when you needed to trim paneling off, it was handy. It was small, but that's what it was made for. I've said this before in my other videos, but some people watching this one may not have watched the others, but there's a term called fairness. It was a boat building term, I think, is where it came from, and it's a transition from the front of a boat to the back of a boat. and how it's smooth in the water, and it doesn't provide drag from the bow to the stern. It needs to be one smooth part the water, go through the water, and let the water come back together. It eventually became an aeronautic term with airplanes. There's a piece where the wing comes out of the fuselage of an airplane. There's a little thing right there that transition is called a fairing, and it came from the word being fair. Fairness is that no bumps, no restrictions, shape, making it fair, and that's what this is for. This is the fairness tool, a long block with sandpaper on it that smooths out those transitions. It makes them fair. They have fairings on race cars that in front of the wheels, in front of the tires, that move the wind out of the way so it don't cause turbulence around the tires. And fairness is what you're after in a gun stock. I see a lot of really expensive, nice guns, very, very nice guns, Winchesters and Brownings and stuff, and it makes me sad that I see these little waves, little bumps here and there where machines have cut those shapes and they didn't go back and take the time to smooth them out. And I mean, that's just industry, you know, that's just what they do. Most people don't notice it, but this is your fairness maker, is a block, a straight block. Body men that work on cars understand straight blocks. I wish I could hold this thing in my vise. I'm having a hard time hanging on to it. There's a way, though. Where there's a will, there's a lawyer. I mean, a way. See that little block with that round edge? Put that round edge inside there, and it acts like a barrel, and it lets me put pressure and hold this thing up above my vice jaws. See, I can hang on to it right there and work all this down. I have a whole assortment of different shapes and sizes of blocks and different hardnesses. Some things you want nice and soft because you don't want them to scar the wood. So this is pine and this is maple. I want that maple to sit in that barrel groove, and this pine I want it to kind of mush around that outside edge. There's a notch in here. When this thing folds down, when the barrel goes down, part of the receiver goes up into that notch. There's a notch in between those two marks, and it's on about a 35-degree angle, and it's a 90-degree notch. I got to cut that out somehow. Nothing on my milling machine will do that.